Hey everyone, so in today's video I wanted to share with you guys some of my favorite classroom must-haves that I had this year. My personal favorites, literally items that if you're a new teacher and are wondering what things you'll need your first year, I wanted to share with you guys some of my favorites from this year. So if you're interested in seeing that, keep watching, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. Alright, so my first classroom favorite were the 10 cart drawers from Michaels. They also have them from Amazon, I believe, but I got these specifically from Michaels and they are game changing. I am gonna get even another set of drawers just because I use them all the time. It was great for organizing all of my worksheets and everything for the week, and it was great to just put them in what day I was gonna use them, and that's why I want another one to even have them for when I'm ahead on my weeks, because sometimes if I was ahead on making copies for the next week, I would just put them in what I thought would be the day that it would go in, but I wanna have a separate one, that way I can just label it as a subject for the following week or something, and even just have a section for subs so that we can keep all the worksheets that they will need in there. I just love these 10 cart drawers, and I remember last year I made a video saying that I always hear either teachers loving them or complaining about them, and I was definitely a teacher who loved them. Teachers complained about them because they would break, but I realized that those were teachers who let their kids open them, like they would use them as turn-in bins or have their supplies in there, and they definitely are fragile. When I just use them myself as my own stuff for passing out papers and things, it was totally fine, but I remember at the end of the year, I would let students go in there for extra copies. So if they were absent the day before and needed some worksheets, I would be like, oh, just grab them from the extra copy drawer. And the more and more I did do that, I did notice them it breaking a little bit more. So I will definitely say it's something I would recommend it only be a teacher use thing, just because it is a little bit more fragile. If that's what you're already planning on doing, then I definitely recommend. Okay, the next thing is the doorbell. I loved my doorbell, especially for classroom transitions. I will say my class failed constantly when it came to using it as an attention grabber. Like we kept practicing and they wouldn't perfect that. I think that's something I want to work on, but just in general, like playing that when they knew that I was ready for their attention or when it was time to transition, it was perfect. I put it on my lanyard, so I was constantly using it throughout the day, and even days where I would forget my keys and didn't have my doorbell, I like hated it, and I was like, oh, like every time I went to grab the student's attention, I was like, oh, sorry guys, I don't have my doorbell today, but I loved the doorbell for transitions and getting my class's attention. It was so perfect. Next is just like a speaker. I had like a pink mini speaker that I kept at my desk, and I loved it for playing it in the mornings, either when I was in there getting ready for the day or as students came in the morning. It was super nice to have and keep handy, and sometimes when we would break out and have some karaoke or dance parties, it was very nice. So I loved having like a mini speaker to keep in my desk. It was really nice and just kept the vibes up, and just got me onto a good start for the day in the beginning of the school year, and I loved it. All right, next is turn-in bins. So I got these turn-in bins from Amazon, and I love them. They were actually gifted to me, I think from one of you guys. You guys got me them. It was on my Amazon wish list, and I loved them. My students use them every day to turn in their assignments throughout the day, and like each color was for it was for a different subject, and I absolutely loved it. I loved my turn-in bins, and they worked perfectly. All right, next thing I really loved having in my classroom were these cloud light covers. They were so nice, especially because in my classroom last year, there were no windows, and that really got to me a lot. I just hated not having windows, which I will say my next classroom, one of the best bonus points of it is it has windows. But in my first classroom, I had 0 windows, and so that gave the illusion that we got some that we got to see outside a little bit. But without having any windows or natural light, the lighting in there was awful. And I know my teammate only had lamps on in her room, so that gave a good vibe to the class. I just like don't like those like bright fluorescent lights all day. That's just gives me a headache. So I would only have one light on and then had those light covers, and it gave a way better vibe to the classroom than just having those full bright fluorescent lights all day. So I loved my light covers. Okay, next was a rolling chair, which also was gifted to me, and I absolutely loved it. It's so cute. It's like a pink rolling chair, and I used this at my back table when I was at my small group table, and I loved it. It was just so perfect, very comfortable. I loved how it swiveled and moved. It was just so perfect, and it was perfect for a small group table as well. So that was one of my favorite things in my classroom. Next thing that I think you will absolutely need is a personal laminator. I will say this entire year I never used the school laminator that they had for us. If I needed to print like small things, I would just use it on my personal laminator. It was very easy and convenient, and then plus a majority and bulk of things that I did over the summer I used on my personal laminator anyways. So I did that, but that was very nice to have, and you definitely need your own personal laminator, along with my next thing, which is a personal paper cutter as well. That's also another thing I never used the whole school one. It was so nice. I didn't have to walk all the way back there to cut my materials for the day. It was super easy just to pull it out of my storage space or whatever, and then go ahead and cut my stuff using my own personal laminator. So I think a laminator and personal cutter you definitely need. Okay, next thing I really enjoyed having was flexible seating for students. So flexible seating, I got a lot of this through Donors Choose this year. I had like those surf desks, I had lots of pillows, I had some like yoga ball, medicine ball chairs. They did get popped by the end of the year. But those, I just like really enjoyed having flexible seating and just that being a part of my classroom environment in general, because a lot of students, if they were unmotivated to work, and I know being at your desk all day is not comfortable for anybody, so having them work around the classroom, or even it be earned as a privilege, or just having those options to sit comfortably around the class was really nice, and giving them those options was really nice as well. So I loved having those different flexible seating options for kids just to lay down, do their assignments, and feel comfortable doing it. So I did really enjoy that as well. Next thing I really enjoyed having in my classroom were the Better Than Bulletin Board paper. It is so nice. I literally made sure I kept it all for this year. That way it's easy to hang up. It's just super nice and very durable. And there are so many cute options on there. It is a little bit more expensive, but it's something that will last you. It's great quality. It won't easily tear. It looks great. And like I said, just the main thing is it's something that can be reusable and you could use for years on end rather than just using basic paper. I really like the Better Than Bulletin paper. It kind of has like that thick fabric material to it, and it's just really nice and I love it. And then the last thing that I really enjoyed having in my classroom were those like clear pockets. I love those for working with small groups. It was something that easy where I didn't have to make like 30 copies or something. I was able to just make a few and reuse it, putting the paper in those clear pockets, and kids can just erase them. I love that for small groups and stuff. So having those clear pockets were also a really nice touch. And I feel like there's still so many other things that I loved in my classroom, but I like cannot think of them. But I'm curious if you guys have taught, what are some of your favorite classroom finds? I know right now I'm trying to think of what things I would want for my classroom next year. So yeah, let me know down below. I'm also wanting to film a video about things that I regret purchasing for my class this year. I'll probably make a video on that too. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so. And if you guys enjoyed today's video and seeing some of my classroom must-haves, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye guys.